Hello, everyone. It's Ten Types, as I was joined by Uncommon Fossil on the Reasonably Effective podcast.
Hello, glad to be here. Glad to be talking Pokemon TCG.
Yep, and today we are talking about some cards that aren't out yet, though they are very close to being out. This is the new expansion, Phantasmal Flames, which is releasing the 14th. It says on Pokemon Proxies. I think on live it's the 13th. A handful of the cards are already out on live from some special decks, but yeah, this is the last main set of the year. This is a set featuring Mega Evolution cards. I guess it's the Mega Evolution era, featuring 6 new Mega Evolutions, as in the three prizers and some other cards. It's actually the first Mega Evolution set didn't have any regular EXs, as in two prize EXs, so this one has those, and some pretty cool cards in the set. So overall, what are your thoughts on the set so far?
I mean, with this new set, right? You
Yeah.
mean I think it's again. I think it's fair. I'm still not sure about these megas with the three prize option. I mean, there's a couple that have some value. I think three prizes are just tough to win games playing. I would say so. And there's one card we could talk about that kind of addresses that as well as a way to get around giving up three prizes on a mega.
Yeah. I feel like, so far the three prizers have been kind of in standard, not with Phantasmal Flames. They've been okay. There have been some that have seen
Yeah.
play. The basic ones are kind of splashable into different decks, and so you have them as an option where you're sometimes using them, and you should just keep in mind the fact that they give up three prizes, and you need to force your opponent to not really be able to take advantage of that, which you can sometimes do. Sometimes you can't do. You can't really fully build around one. If you do, you can have really big issues, even if you do get going. So because there's a lot of one-shotting decks, or there's a handful of Goldengo and Sarilege and stuff like that. So I mean, I feel like they feel balanced slash weak, and generally they're not super interesting. At least I actually recently recorded a video on this where I talked about they're not super interesting in terms of design. In terms of abilities, they don't really have super interesting abilities. But there is a new one. I guess we'll talk about it now, which you hinted at, which is the Mega Gengar, where says, was it, if one of your darkest Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon EX, then they take one less prize. It does not stack, and then it can do 230 for two and move an energy from it to your bench Pokemon. But I feel like it's okay. I mean, it's not amazing, but it feels interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stage two. The damage isn't great. I mean, I guess there's two ways to look at it. One, it is the Mega EX starter deck, and I believe you can also you can already buy the product IRL. You just can't play it in official tournaments at this point. But otherwise, it wouldn't be available in live if it wasn't, I believe, for sale. You could play it as its own deck, right, as a Mega Gengar deck, where it essentially becomes a very tanky Stage 2 EX that gives up two prizes per time, and it's an ability, so therefore your opponent can't gust up a Mega Gengar from the bench that didn't. It's not like an effect of an attack, so that's good. And then 230 is okay. You're moving to the bench, so you're forcing them to work through the prizes. It's okay that way. I think the better way maybe would be with Marnie's Grimmsnarl, um, right? Because then you're already playing the rare candies in the deck. It's darkness. Then that's making that tankier. With Mega Gengar sitting on the bench. So that might be another way to go with it.
Yeah, and I think you could. That idea also applies to different darkness Pokemon. You mentioned Rare Candy. The other one, oh, there's Charizard EX, right? Charizard EX is also darkness. Actually, very
That's true.
similar to Mars Grimmsnarl EX. The Marnie's is um more darkness, I guess. I mean, it uses darkness energy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think those would both work there. And then also you could pair it with basics. Obviously, you're not naturally playing Rare Candy, but you also have more room to slide it in with. I'm just looking at some lists. There's Mega, or no, there's Mega Ganger with Roaring Moon. There is it with the new Mega Sharpedo, which is obviously not a basic, but we'll talk about that later, I think. And also with playing with Team Rocket's Arbok, apparently. I think. Let me check. Is that what it is? Yep, that's what it is. And then also Tyranitar, that's kind of weird, and Zoroark EX as well. Obviously, Darkness is a good type. It has some really powerful support pieces, like for example, Pheasant 50 EX, where that's normally a bit of a liability, and now it's less of a liability. There are still ways around it
Yep.
though. Dragapult EX could theoretically get around it. We'll actually talk about that later on as well. But Yeah, I mean, I feel like most of the time your opponent won't be able to get around it, or if they will, they'll be like almost slowing themselves down to the point where it doesn't really like matter. They're hurting themselves in order to take an extra prize, but if they're slowing themselves down, it doesn't matter, as I said.
I mean, right, to get around it, they can get around it certainly like once with a something maybe, but they can't consistently get around it. So it gives you the advantage. Obviously the Charizard EX, the one that obviously uses fire energy, is going to be tough because you're not going to have. Well, you can't attack with a Mega Gardevoir in that
Yeah,
case, right?
yeah,
Because you're not
yeah,
going to be playing the darkness energy. But yeah, it can work with anything, or with a single prize deck, right? In which case you're not giving any prizes. Now it's only by attacks from EXs, so if it becomes a thing, you might want to have non-EX attackers in your deck as well. It's not a wall, it walls prizes, so you do need to take prizes to win the game. Obviously, you can not just knock out all their Pokemon, but that would obviously include the Mega Gengar. So
yeah,
I don't think it's going to become a huge thing, but you might need to think about ways to get around it. I think the tool also, Punk Helmet in that set isn't bad. It's attached to Darkness Pokemon, and if it's damaged by an attack, you put 4 damage counters on attacking Pokemon. I think that could have some value. I think like maybe the Marnie's Grimmsnarl maybe could take use of that, right? Something where you're trying to work the damage numbers, right? So it kind of fits in a darkness deck that's trying to get the damage, but working to get there.
yeah. Also, I think it's interesting within with like trying to use Mega Absol EX for its first attack, where you need exactly 6 damage counters on your opponent's active, which is really hard to do. I've seen a lot of people playing Mega Absol, or I've seen like a decent chunk of it, and I've never seen
Yeah.
anyone actually use the attack, unless they like don't have enough energy for the second attack, in which case they're just essentially passing, but in a more fancy way. But yeah, Punk Helmet's like interesting for that. It's not 6, it's 4, but there's some like really good darkness stuff in this set. I definitely say this set is darkness focused. I mean, darkness has 2 megas in this set, going up to 3 in total. So there's a lot of cool darkness stuff. I guess I'll talk about Toxtricity as well. I feel like it kind of goes with Punk Helmet. It's the main darkness card from the set, and it says with its ability, Bad Uppers, the translation here, once per turn you can use this ability. It's a stage 1 sitting on, it could be on your bench, and then you can search your deck for a basic darkness and attach it to one of your bench darkness Pokemon. Then you shuffle your deck. Then if you put an energy there, then you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So you do, if you just want to get the damage counters on for whatever reason without accelerating, you can actually do that, but that's pretty situational. The other thing is it is only accelerating 2 Darkness Pokemon, so it will not be able to accelerate to specifically Monkey Dory, which would be really good if you could do that, because it's a way to both get extra entries onto your board and damage counters onto your board. But I think it still has very good synergy with Monkey Dory, of course, because it can definitely struggle to get going when you don't have the energies or the damage counters, which some decks really struggle to do. Um, so I feel like it's a very powerful energy accelerator just in general with cool utility. Again, like I like it with Mega Absol, just like Punk Helmet, where you can get maybe you could do a Toxtricity with Monkey Dory plus Punk Helmet to get 6 damage counters on your opponent's active, and then get the knockout there. It's like kind of gimmicky, but it seems kind of fun. And then within like a darkness style toolbox deck, again maybe with Mega Gengar, it seems interesting. I don't think it's like absurdly good, but I'd say it's on a similar caliber to something like Electric and Standard, which we're not actually talking about today. Actually, oh, also we are recording this a few days earlier than normal. But yeah, this is the same day that the new Mega Electros EX was revealed, but we're not talking about that today. But yeah, I feel like Toxtricity is like really good.
No, well, it's kind of like the poor man's Gardevoir EX, right? It's a
Yeah, I
stage,
guess.
it's a single prize. It's a stage 1. Those are both pluses for it, but it searches it scouts for your deck rather than the discard, which is generally better. It puts 2 damage counters on, but it only does it once, right? And it only does it to the bench, not to the active as an option. So it's kind of like Gardevoir EX, but not as good. But obviously that kind of balances. Obviously, if it had the same abilities as Gardevoir EX on a single price stage 1, that would be much too good because Gardevoir EX as a stage 2 EX is already kind of too good.
Yeah.
Um, I would say. Obviously, it's a really good card. It makes good decks. Then I think we should talk about the Mega Sharpedo for a minute
Yeah.
here because that's what what the Toxtricity is meant to go with, right?
Yeah.
Which is the stage one mega Pokemon, so three prizes, and it's 330 HP, so nice HP on a stage one, and then the main attack, two energies, Hungry Jaw, it's called here, does 120 for two, and if it has any damage counters on it, it does 150 more, so you're doing 270. That 270 is really not enough, I would say. So you're going to have to probably be doing some augmentation to make things happen. And that's where like the punk helmet, monkey dory, something like that probably has to go in with the deck as well. Like that, just to get the numbers what you want. But it's made to the Toxicity is made to go with the Mega Sharpedo. But I think the Toxicity is really the more interesting card, probably.
Yeah. Also with Mega Sharpedo, I mean, 270 is not like the worst number. You are one-shotting the relevant stage. Wait, how much HP does Flareon have? It's why am I blanking on this? It is
Um,
oh, it's also not loaded. Okay, it is 270. Okay, that's what I was thinking.
okay.
But I wasn't sure if it was at a 280. It does 280 anyway. So yeah, like pretty much all the relevant stage one EXs that you're one-shotting. Let's just something I'm forgetting. Well, stage one two prize EXs, which are most
Yeah.
of them. That being said, those are probably decks you're not really looking to run into. Like a lot of them are taking one shots on you, but it is still like an okay number. Um, it's not one shotting stage two EXs or stage one megas, but those are like a lot higher, so it could be
Yeah.
worse.
Right. I'm just thinking like if you're playing running into Goldingo EX, that's one of the stage one EXs. You can one shot them, but they can also probably one shot you, and they're taking that extra prize. So I would like to be able to knock out. If I have a three prize stage one, I think to make it useful, I should be able to one shot a two prize stage two. Right, I would think to get the prize, to kind of equal things out. The stage two is a little harder to set up. So that's where the megas probably was good design. They're not running away with the format, which I think happens at times. They have a new mechanic, something tankier, bigger in the damage numbers, and it kind of takes over. They've managed not to do that. I think with the megas.
Yeah, I also think this card's. I was like kind of thinking about it, and it's honestly kind of similar to Mega Lucario EX. The fact that it has like it's kind of highlighting the or it's like the showcasing the highlighted type in the set. Like darkness is here, fighting was with the last set with a lot of support for it, but the support's the more interesting aspect to it. Also, they both do 270 for two, and then there are ways to boost the damage. Kinda here, it's with something like Monkey Dory, which again you can't accelerate to with Toxtricity or also Punk Helmet. I mean, Punk Helmet seems kind of sketchy. Your opponent needs to feed into it. It's not even necessarily getting you to the numbers you're looking for. But I feel like it's like all right. I expected to see some play. It's one of the better new decks from the set, I guess. The set just doesn't have that many standalone good decks, or really any, I guess, depending how you break it down. But I think this one's kind of cool. Also, uh, I think that
Yeah.
Grimsley's one move or whatever the support is called is really cool. I just want to kind of jump in or back in and say
Yeah.
this one is the one where you cannot use it turn one, which I don't know if it would make it too good. But it would make it kind of really swingy, so I get why they did it. But turn one, you can look at the top seven cards of your deck, put a Darkness Pokemon, you find there onto your bench, then the others are on the bottom of your deck, so it can get evolutions. The reason I'm saying it wouldn't be like super good turn one, I mean it's like super inconsistent, but it could be super powerful. It's a really fun card. It's kind of silly, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, what would make it a lot better if we had good ways to get cards back on top of your deck? We have some. Obviously, we can do that, but I don't know if they're not great ways. I don't think at the moment. So it's more of a gimmicky card. I would say so. I like you say it's a darkness set, but that's the only of the trainer cards. There's only one darkness one, right? So
And
there's
the
like
Punk Hamlet.
yes. Yeah. Yes, it's in the American set. It's not in the was it? It wasn't in the Inferno X set, right? Because that was in the um, special deck. But yes,
Yeah.
correct. That is true.
And there's also like a Sharpie, or no, you said Sharpie. There's also a Seviper, which is like a decent single prize. You can do 220 for three darkness. I think if you have was it Darkness Mega in play or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, which is like pretty like all right. It's not absurd. And there's some like other mediocre darkness Pokemon. I mean, it's not as good as Lunatone, Fighting Gong and Premium Power Pro. But I mean, like it's still I think the best type in this set. It's like Darkness and Fire, um, but they both have some cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean the Seviper, it's hard to power it up. It's three darkness energies. Assuming you're only playing darkness energy, you can't use Crispin, so you're gonna have to what use. You can do multiple toxicities, right? If you have them, but you still have to get them set up. You have to switch from the bench to the active, or something. So that's where I Seviper is interesting. I think it's going to be awkward though. That was my kind of thought on that one.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I think it like. I feel like with Toxtricity, I mean, Toxtricity is pretty similar to Houndoom, the single strike one. A big
Yeah,
difference and what makes it kind of better is that it is basic energy, meaning that you can have more than 4 copies. You
right.
could have recovered single strike energy, but anyways, it's like better to have it more accessible there. Um,
Yep.
and you have more options theoretically as well. But ultimately, as a Viper, I think you're like the idea is you're going to get a bunch of Toxtricities in play in a Toxtricity deck, like a Toxtricity toolbox, and Viper is just a one of, which is like a pretty good one of. It's or single prize one of, not like absurdly good,
Yeah.
but decent. I like it. I don't think it's. I mean, it's not. I'd say in general this set's kind of weak. Because I mean it's kind of small. But it's a decent card.
Well, and you need a mega darkness in play. So the one darkness here is there's the mega Sharpedo. We also have the mega Gengar, and then we have what the mega Absol is a basic, right? If you
Yeah.
want to splash in a deck, the mega Absol may be the way to go. I don't know if the synergy is all there with that either. So I think this Viper is more of something to keep in mind down the road, depending how things develop. I would say.
I mean, I feel like Mega Absol, if you're playing a Darkness Mega Box, I feel like that would go in. Um, I've been talking a lot about the first deck, but the second deck's just like pretty well rounded. I mean, it is still 3 energies, but I mean, I think that it's just a lot more payable with Toxtricity. Right now, it's played in standard, but it's not super hard to pay. I mean, but you need to like usually you set it up with TM Turbo Energize, so it's like you're taking a whole turn off to set it up. So it's like it's a decent commitment there. Versus now you don't need to do that. You can like say turn one attack with like Badoo or whatever, and then turn two you can still attack with Mega Absol.
Yeah, right. Because I know you're not a fan of attacks that are basically about accelerating energy. So, and obviously, you need a big payoff to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, honestly, I kind
Um,
of like TM Turbo Energize. I just don't think Joltik Vox is a particularly good deck. I guess that's where I stand. I like Joltik. But I mean, you don't get any value immediately. It's obviously better to like if you don't have to use a set of attack, it's better to use an attack that really disrupts your opponent or gets you or like does damage or something.
yeah, right. Like, all right, right. You attack with Badoo while you set up your bench and stuff. It's pretty effective. All right. So I think that we hit the darkness Pokemon, right? So do you want to talk about do you want to talk like do you want to talk about the Mega Diancie at all?
Um, Sure, I guess. Yeah, I'll read it out here. So for 2 psychic, it does you score up to 2 energy from it, which are presumably psychic. It does
Yep.
120 for each card discarded in this way. It's also a mega, obviously. It's a basic as well. 270 HP, which is like kind of low for a mega, but it's like whatever, I guess. And then it takes 30 less damage from attacks with its ability. This card also, I guess, has one retreat, and it has metal weakness, which is meaningful. This card is playable as an option from what I've seen, it's playable as an option within Mega Gardevoir EX, or no,
Okay.
within regular Gardevoir EX. Post rotation, because also these cards are mostly going to be out post rotation. I mean, that's true for a lot of
Yeah.
cards, but rotation is closer on the horizon. So I feel like it's meaningful to talk about it with some of these ones that synergize more specifically with cards that are rotating, which I'll talk about after. But you can power it up as like easily in Gardevoir, and it's like okay. I don't think it's super good. It is like technically a Pokemon with a different weakness, but I feel like it's like a liability being a 3 prizer. And then I mean it's like not absurdly strong, but it's like a decent option within Gardevoir as well. I think it's fine.
Yeah, you could splash one copy in your Gardevoir deck. I can definitely see that. Post rotation, obviously, it's 2 energies. This deck has Wonder Patch in it, which you attach a psychic energy from the discard pile to one of your bench psychic Pokemon. So can't go to the active like Gardevoir can, but you're in. but it's you're not damaging the Pokemon, especially with Mega Dance. You're giving up 3 prizes. You don't, give putting damage counters on it's pretty rough. I would because it's only 270. Yes, it takes 30 less, but it's still not a huge number. So getting in and play is a scary thing, I would say, right? And the idea that you're going to play a Mega Diancie deck as your deck, I think is pretty sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wonder Patch. Honestly, I really like Wonder Patch. We've seen cards like this in the past. They've all been
Yep.
pretty good, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if they've all been amazing. They might have all been amazing. I don't think I'd quite go that far. But anyways, they're certainly good. This card's cool. I like it with Mega Nancy. I like these more aggressive, big basic decks, like very turbo-y. But with the megas, they're just kind of, as you're saying, a three prizer. It's like it feels bad. And like you can do it with Mega Latios in standard right now. Wonder Patch could actually
Yeah.
also add to that by using the Latios because you need to move the energy. But that's pretty doable. But ultimately, even if you are hitting for 200, 300 damage, turn one going second consistently with like Mega Gengar, Mega Dancy, which are both like they have some tankiness to them, but they have a lot of not tankiness to them as well. Um, they're just I mean, you can be one-shotting every turn and still lose, which like is feels really bad. So, and that's not like a crazy thing to happen either, because again, you're not like absurdly tanky. So I feel like Wonder Patch though is cool. I'm trying to think like this post rotation, because right now in standard, if you have like a generic Psychic Pokemon, the idea is kind of like play it in Gardevoir, like an attacking option.
Right.
But this could be good. I mean, most of them are. I don't think it actually works super well. This obviously something like Screamtail. Wait, Screamtail might rotate, but like something like that wouldn't work. That needs damage counters. Same thing with like Monkey Dory, obviously, which
Right.
is like kind of different, but definitely needs damage counters and is psychic. But overall, I feel like Wonder Patch is like pairing it with something like Fluttermane or whatever is kind of meh. Also, I think Fluttermane doesn't rotate. I think Screamtail does. To really like know this stuff better. Yeah, Screamtail rotates and
Okay.
Fluttermane uh does not rotate. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I mean, Wonder Patch is cool. I feel like its use cases. It's seen a lot of play in Japan, or like I've seen the most play in Japan and Alakazam for some like kind of gimmicky purposes to like get extra energies. To essentially, it turns it into draw because you can reuse enriching energy because you need turns off of attachments to do so, which is like cool, I guess. But that's like obviously a weird case of it.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, Wonder Patch is a nice card, and obviously, right now with Gardevoir EX, you don't the need for it's much lower. But when that rotates, this is going to be a much more important card. It's still a very nice card. Right. Energy acceleration is always a nice thing there. In terms of the other psychic Pokemon, I think the Miss Magius. This is an EX, but not a Mega. I'd like is worth talking about. 260 HP. And there's some confusion stuff in the deck. This has the ability Swirling Spell. I don't know if this is the official final name or not, but if the Mismagius is in the active, when your opponent switches in a new active Pokemon, it's now confused. So there's a few other confusion things too. So confusion's a tough way to kind of try to win games, but it's a fun disruptive thing. And then for 2 psychic energy, it does 150. Not a great number, but not a terrible number. And you draw, they have 6 cards in hand. So sort of a mediocre attack, but the idea being you'd build a deck where you're trying to gust things to the bench. There is some energy disruption options in this deck as well, I would think, so that you're making it tough. So they're having to switch, be confused, going to have to hit heads often enough. And with your low damage output, you're hoping that you get an extra turn or two and can win the game.
Yeah, I feel like there's some interesting stuff. So I built a deck list. I don't actually have it with me. I mean, it's not done. Yeah, I feel like Confusion's interesting. I'm gonna quickly over the other stuff as well. There's the
Okay.
Brambleghast. This is a stage 1 psychic Pokemon
Yeah.
that says when you can use this ability when you play even when you play it, you can make your opponent's active confused is pretty much what it does here.
Yeah.
And so that's like another confusion, a way to get that done. And then there's also a stadium. It does, what's it say? Oh, confusion is not removed during evolution or devolution, which seems like kind of niche. I'm not gonna lie. But it is the third confusion piece. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I might be. But anyways, so those are the confusion pieces. The main one is Mismagius, which is specifically good because confusion, if you're not familiar, it's a special condition. It's one of the three special conditions: paralysis, confusion, and sleep, which do not stack. The other ones do stack. Poison and burn stack with any of the other ones. But anyway, so and it says your opponent needs to flip a coin before they attack. If they flip tails, they do 30 to themselves. If heads, they just attack like normal. And then the idea is they can still retreat. So Miss Magius will mean that they can't retreat. I mean, they can retreat, but the new active is still confused, so it doesn't really help them.
Right.
Which is interesting there. But I wanted to build a deck around the Psyduck from. Do you know the card?
No, I know you've liked that one in the past though. So
Yeah, Psyduck says
go ahead.
from 151, the attack over thing for one colorless says during your opponent's next turn, whenever they flip a coin, treat it as tails. Um, so they can't attack if they're confused. I mean, they can. They'll just damage themselves. So the idea is then to like stop them from attacking and be like a control deck. Also, sorry if there's any background noise. I don't know if you can hear it, but yeah. So this card is like bad, right? But it's funny. I built a deck around it before this confusion stuff came out. By the way, it was horrendously terrible. But it seems interesting here. And there's some like funny combos you can do. Or not, I don't know if combos, but like synergies. Obviously with Brambleghast, you can replay it using like scoop up effects or something like suspicious. What is it? Suspicious timepiece or whatever? No. Um, I strange timepiece. There we go. So you devolve a psychic Pokemon. You can also do this with Miss Magius. You mentioned energy disruption. There's Miss
Right.
Magius from Pele Evolve, which is when you play it, you move an energy from your opponent's active to one of their bench Pokemon, which is a similar idea there to or I mean it's another on place psychic evolution, so it also synergizes there, and it is still Miss Magius, which is also like the one line you're running. So there's some like fun little stuff there. It's like kind of bad, right? But it's funny. Um, so yeah. Also, there's Lisa's
Yeah.
appeal. I'll mention that, but not
Okay.
new.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is kind of that. It's not going to be like a top tier deck, but it's a fun rogue deck to try to mess with your opponent that you'll get some wins with, but you're going to come up short a lot. I would say. But yeah, I was thinking like the single prizes Magius. That goes in the deck as well because then you get some energy off the active, and then so you're gonna if that and if they can't get the energy on that, then they have to switch from the bench to the active. So depending between the Mismagiuses, you can kind of work, help control things that way as well.
Yeah, I'd say it's like kind of weird. I mean, I generally don't really like coin flip decks. I mean, they can be funny, right? I'd say I like
Yeah,
them less than other people. I mean, this is kind of weird because you're not actually the one doing the coin flips. I mean, functionally, it doesn't really matter who's doing it, right?
right.
But it's still I mean, it's like super hit or miss, unless you're hitting them with Psyduck. But if you're hitting them with Psyduck, then they could still retreat because Miss Magic EX isn't in the active. I suppose you could knock out your Psyduck somehow, but with like poison. But that seems bad. Um, to guarantee that they can't attack. Yeah, that seems pretty horrendous as I'm like saying it. But this is like the funny deck from the set in my opinion. Well, no, there's actually another funny deck that I think you'll want to talk about, which maybe we'll talk about after this. But yeah, overall, I
Yeah,
feel like it's just really silly. And
yeah. It's a silly fun deck. And I don't know there's any other psychic Pokemon to talk about, right? I mean, there's a
uh,
Whimsicott that can heal all damage from one of your bench Pokemon, but I don't see that really having a place in the game.
yeah, I'll actually mention. So I'm actually going to a pre-release tomorrow. Well, tomorrow at the time recording this. I'm pretty sure at the time of releasing this, all the pre-releases are actually done. But Zacian is actually, I believe, one of the pre-release promos, and this card is
Okay.
absurd during pre-release because pre-releases are what 4 prizes, right?
Yeah.
But this says if your opponent has 3 or fewer prizes remaining, it does 90 more. So it does 140 for 2 for like most of the game. Um, on like a basic, it's like super. I assume it's super absurd. But anyways, did want to mention that. Not super good in standard. It's like okay, I guess it's playable. I feel like, but not super good.
Yeah, and in pre-releases, it's low HP single price Pokemon, so you're going to be even one-shotting a lot of things from
Yeah.
early in the game. So on a basic, so that's pretty rough. So all right, so we'll move to the Lightning Pokemon. I assume you're setting me up to talk about Rotom EX there.
Yeah. Is this your favorite card from the set?
I don't know. It's I mean it's one I definitely want to try some stuff with. I don't have good hopes for it, but Rotom EX, so another EX that's not a mega. It does the tax not it's not even meh. It's not good. It does 130 for two. You discard all energy from this Pokemon, so that's pretty terrible. But then it's got the ability multi-adapter. All Pokemon with Rotom in their name can have up to two Pokemon tools attached. So that's that makes it fun, right? So what could you do for shenanigans there? There are Rotoms in the game here right now. There's both there's a set of Rotoms. There's a Mo Rotom, a Heat Rotom, a Wash Rotom, being right grass, fire, water. So you can hit for different weaknesses. Plus, there's the single prize Rotom for lightning. I think there might be like three single prize Rotoms with lightning right now, actually. And there's the good colorless one, but I don't think you'd actually want that with this in that deck, probably the one that can get you other colorless Pokemon. So you can have this a single prize meme deck with a whole bunch of tools. So you can get what you get six times two, so 12 times. What's it do for damage right now? I'm
You
actually
get
blanking.
360,
It's
right?
I think, yeah, assuming you get everything set up, you have to get all these tools in the hand too. Yeah, 30 per tool attached. So for two colorless energy. So you got to get them powered up too. So it all gets a little tricky there. But you have Crispin, I guess, to make that happen. But
And all the
that's very,
tools like EXP share. I'm sure you're playing for
yeah.
EXP share.
I would think you're playing for a lot of tools in those type of decks, which I like. They're a lot of fun. Because you have so many tools in the deck, just the deck is not consistent, and you're not hitting the cards you need. So I would say that is unfortunate there. I think that now I had an idea for control deck in standard because there is the 80 HP Rotom, so super tanky there
Wait, which
with
one?
the
Oh, the not the
it
not the tool one. The
right.
actual Rotom. Yeah.
It's a single, yeah, just a, yeah. So with two attacks, the big one I think being for this crushing pulse does for one energy. Your opponent reveals their hand. You discard all item and tool cards. So get rid of all the items in your opponent's hand when you attack. Pretty good. You can get a couple tools up your HP up to what 180. So it might not be so easy to knock you out. You can
Or
do
with Luxurious
gusting.
Escape, it can be with two tools. You could have 280.
Okay, so that's true. So and obviously now you give up three prizes if you get knocked
Yeah, that's
out
kind of bad.
at that point, um but you can probably do some manipulation ideally. Maybe you want to get some way to knock yourself out so you don't give up one prize depending what you do. But I think that's a fun little disruptive deck to me. Just honestly, I don't know that it could be good, but a fun little thought I had there of way to do it. And I also wondered expanded with the Rotom EX, just because we have the Rotom V with its nice ability, and do we want to do something that you can make like which goes in certain decks, maybe the control style decks. Again, you can have tools on your Rotom Vs. Maybe you can do something there, but I think the Rotom is like a meme deck special, I would say.
Yeah, I have actually a few more things to add on to the Rotom there.
Yeah.
There's the card that you didn't. Well, you mentioned it to me like previously, but there's a Bronzong for 3 colors on stage one. It does 40 for each tool attached to Pokemon or
Yes.
to Pokemon in play. Actually,
Oh
also your
yeah.
opponents, which is like kind of funny. Probably doesn't matter very much, but it is kind of cool. But that's like a thing. And then also, so I got a comment a while ago. I don't know if the person intended it to be played with the new Rotom EX, which makes it better, but they said do the Rotoms like with the tools with the technical machines and jamming tower, because if the technical machines fall off,
Right.
um, which is bad. So and I think you play with TM machine as well to search out the technical machines, and then you like you jamming tower yourself so that they don't fall off, which
So it
like seems
stays.
bad because I mean you're playing a tool deck and you're turning off your own tools, but and it seems funny. I might try that. But then also with the control thing in standard, there's a few Rotoms. There's actually a bunch. I've like kind of forgotten about some of these. So there are the tool ones. Also, you didn't like say so all the tool ones actually. I don't know if you said this, but they all are like the same as well. So even though it's like technically a toolbox, no pun intended, like toolboxes and you have different attacking options, you actually only have one attack across the different
Yes.
attackers, which is kind of bad. But yeah, so there's the Rotom, the one that discards the items and tools from your opponent's hand, which is kind of cool. There's also the one for one colorless, which recovers an item from your discard into your hand. Pretty cool there.
Yep.
And there's the Morotom, which says before doing damage, you discard all tools and special energy attached to your opponent's active there, which is again sometimes potentially it's good, right? It's definitely not an absurdly good card, but it definitely has some value, and there could legitimately be a Rotom toolbox control deck there.
Yeah, no, that I don't know if I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but yeah, I see this some of the skeleton of a Rotom control deck. So I don't think it's going to be a top tier deck. I don't imagine it's going to be a top deck, but it's a fun one to mess around with. So yes,
Yeah, also
um,
Fan Rotom, which is like the best of the Rotoms, definitely.
yeah,
Is like it's actually good in control as well. If you're playing like Pidgeot EX or like thought there was some other color thing, but I don't remember what it is now. I'm
okay,
blanking, but I'm actually okay. I like really want to figure out what this is. Maybe I'm just imagining things. They like definitely didn't play Knockdown. That like doesn't really make sense to me. But I'll come back to you on that in like a minute when it's like least convenient or something.
okay. Just briefly on the Bronzong because you brought that one up, so that's a stage one, and the tool drop attack does 40 for each tool attached to all Pokemon in play. So if you're really lucky and your opponent's also playing a Rotom deck, then look out. The problem is it's three energies to do it, so three colorless. That makes it very difficult to pull off. We do have some energies obviously to make it happen. Reversal and ignition. I'm always, the one you lose after every turn, the other have to be behind. So navigating that energy with the prizes to get to the win, I always find that tricky. But that's I guess how you're having to play that deck.
Yeah. Oh, I think I was imagining it. I think it was the Pidgeotto, which is like the stage one. But yeah, so I think that there's some like cool, silly stuff in this set. But I want to talk about the other main type in the set. The set, as we've been saying, is called Phantasmal Flames. Obviously, we talked about the Phantasmals, like the darkness stuff with like Gengar. But then the Flames is of course fire, and everyone's favorite
Yeah.
fire Pokemon, Charizard. And yeah, this is Mega Charizard X EX. This card is the Mega that was revealed at the World Championships this past year, which, by the way, those cards, I mean, this card's okay. Like, the Mega Dragonite is so bad. But, anyways, so this for 2 fire, you discard any amount of fire energy from your Pokemon. It does 90 damage for each card discarded in this way. I see this card for the, and I guess I'll toss in the Oricorio X as well, which accelerates as much fire energy as you want to your bench fire Pokemon. If you have a Mega Fire in play, which there are not any basics, but there was a stage one, and you're probably playing it with Charizard. But anyways, this I think is mostly going to be as like a finishing option in Charizard EX, which again is going to be rotating. I don't think it's particularly good post rotation, but it's powerful in terms of damage. It has a really high multiplier, so it's like okay.
Well, I don't know that it's a finisher in Charizard. It also could be your first attacker, right? Because Charizard
Yeah,
ramps up as the game goes on. This you get the three energies on potentially your second turn. So you're doing 270 on your second turn, and you can't get that with Charizard really. So
yeah. I mean, you can take
so I
big one shots, but you're also losing the energy, which like could be bad.
It is, and then you're giving up three prizes, so that's where coming in late in the game. I like the megas more late game, but yeah, I think it goes with the obviously the darkness Charizard that we have, and there are I think if you're a Charizard fan, the basic Charmander and the stage one Charmeleon you gotta consider. The Charmander has 80 HP, which I think the others are less than that. And if it has no energy attached, it retreats for free. So that could be your go-to Charmander. The Charmeleon does 40 for one. I think the other Charmeleons need two energies to attack. So, the stage one have value in Charizard decks in general as an option.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this is the highest HP Charmeleon as well. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really play Charizard. While we're talking about like Charizard and fire decks, though, I'll also mention the Moltres here for one fire does 20, but if you're hitting an EX, it does 110. Yeah, 90 more, so it's 110. What are your thoughts on this card?
I don't. I don't love it, I gotta say. I mean, it kind of reminds me of these other single prize one energy 90 damage numbers. Now this is 20 plus 90. You're not. It's. I guess if I'm playing a fire deck like a Charizard deck, I slap a copy of Moltres in because I can finish something off I couldn't knock out and it's only a one prize liability. But I don't think it's going to be that meaningful most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like it's like okay. It does hit weakness, which is cool. I
Yeah.
guess I've mostly been focusing on that when I've been like looking at this card before, but like if you're playing a fire deck, then I mean a lot of the decks that play fire energies aren't actually fire decks, but it's still kind of like weird there. You're not really looking to hit weakness more. I mean you kind of are, but you know, it's not the biggest deal. But yeah, I mean just like as a finisher, it's okay. Um, again, it's like these one energy cheap cheap attackers. It's seen a lot of play in Japan. I mean, the decks it can be played in are good. I mean, it's like it can be played in Charizard and Dragapult and like it can be
Yeah.
played in a lot of things. But I feel like it's decent. I mean, I feel like it's okay. I kind of think of it similarly actually to Survivor. Survivor is higher commitment but higher payoff. But I feel like they're both like decent single price tech options within these larger decks, which have some versatility in terms of energy acceleration and attacking options there. As a one of it, I feel like it's decent, but it doesn't seem super inspiring to me either.
Yeah, and or if you want to play Ethan's deck, right, then having a Moltres in uh, to hit occasionally is a good thing. Talk about the Ethan's deck just because obviously the Oricorio EX does is similar to the Ethan's,
Wait,
except it can
which
do
Ethan stack?
well the Ho-Oh or
Okay.
the O,
Yeah.
right? That accelerates, but only to eat other Ethan's Pokemon. The Oricorio can be to any. It has to be a fire Pokemon, and I think it's on the bench, right?
Yeah.
But it's from hand, right? To as often as you want, right? So that's very good potentially. And then there's also a Sarah Ledge, which evolves from Charcadet, which you know, because often with the Ethans there is like the Arm Rouge box deck, which I think we have some options to do a different variant there because the Charcadet you have the Armor Rouge, which moves your energy around, but also, especially if you're going to the bench with the Oricorio, you can move it to the active with the Armor Rouge. But then you also have the Sarah Ledge if you're going that route with a nice attacker, single prize attacker. It does 220 for one energy. You have to discard four basic fire energies from your hand. That's not great, but if you have this deck that's built for getting energies and get slapping around, having that, you know, an Armor Rouge deck with a Sarah Legend, I think is a nice option.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Cerulege is mostly going to be played within Cerulege EX because, you know, I mean, it's like one energy, big damage, but it's like a single parser. It's like a little clunky, but it's not like horrendous. And I mean, you have a lot of energies there. I don't
Yeah.
think it's like
Well,
amazing, but I feel like it's okay.
I mean, the other thing is, and it's we're not you don't want to talk about expanding much, but Sarah Ledge, if you want to give it a try, and I think I want to give it a try and expand it because they're like with Fire Crystal and Fiery Flint, I can get those energies and recycle them a lot easier than I can in Standard. So if you can consistently do 220 damage on a single prize Pokemon for one energy, that's something viable, I would say.
Yeah. It's definitely cool there. I'll also mention probably my favorite card from the set, to be honest, which is the item card Heat Burner, which says you
Yeah.
discard a basic fire from your hand to use this, then you discard a tool, special energy, which needs to be attached to your opponent's Pokemon or a stadium. It's just one of the three. But it's like pretty good at like removing your opponent's resources. Most actually going to play some of these, and they're going to be moderately important. It's not going to be like the most powerful card, but it's pretty versatile. I don't know. I don't know why I like it so much. Maybe I'm just going to play with it. I'm just like not going to like it, but I don't know. I really like it. I'm excited to play it. Probably just in like Sarilege or something simple like that. But I think it's a cool card.
Well, I think if I'm playing a deck with fire energy, I'm at this point. I'm going to put a copy of it in, right? Because a tool or a stadium, we're used to that, but the special energy as well. I know special energy is not the biggest thing, but it's certainly it's around. It's obviously very things that get rid of special energy are very nice as an option. And we obviously have Crispin, so for decks that are a bit are flexible in the energy types, and that you could just slot in fire because you have some colorless attack costs, even if you don't need the fire. To give the option of the heat burner. I think it's going to be a pretty nice card. So I also am very excited about the heat burner. There is one other fire support trainer here, a supporter that's not as good. But you get to fire breather. You search your deck for 7 basic fire energies, put it in your hand. So like you said, there are a couple good, well, for at least fire trainers. I don't think fire breathers as good, but the fire and the darkness are the focus of this set in general.
Yeah, Fire Breather's interesting with the Goldengo or Sarilege GX for some like big explosive plays,
Yep.
but it's kind of sketchy, right? But I do actually want to talk a little bit more about Heat Burner, or I think it's translated Blowtorch is the official one. I could be wrong on that though.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a card that obviously requires basic fire energy. So like if I'm playing Dragapult with like one or two fire energies in the deck, even
Mm,
like three fires, that feels like kind of sketchy. I feel like you need more recovery or search or stuff, which um you can do. I mean, those aren't bad cards to include in your deck in general,
right.
but it is like kind of weird. You need to find the right balance. I definitely want to play a deck with four this in it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably just gonna do like Cerealage with four this or something like that. But I feel like it'll be good in most fire energy decks. I don't think it's like I don't know. I don't think it'll be slotted into literally all of them, or even like most specifically Dragapult. Right? Dragapult's obviously very good. It plays fire energy, but not that many fire energies. So, but it does like the ability to like slow down the game and disrupt your opponent's resources as well. There.
Yeah, and always been a fan of the Flareon EX as an op, and so if you want to play that type of deck, I imagine you're putting at least I'm putting at least one copy Heat Burner in to start things off with, and just see if it makes sense. Time will tell on that, but yeah, I mean, cards like this with disruption, but with some options, I think are very good. They're traditionally been very good cards. Cards like this have been cards that you want to are kind of staples in expanded decks, which that's kind of how to me I know a card's good when like most expanded decks you go, okay, I need to slap in, Floatstone or whatever, right? You
Yeah.
know it's just a good card.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool card here. Also going back to Fire Breather, kind of jumping around a little. But yeah,
Yeah.
Fire Breather, I feel like we like both said it was bad. The reason it's like bad, I mean, it's not like the worst card ever, but getting seven energy theoretically is good, but like when do you actually like need seven energy? It's not like it's seven times as good as energy search. It's more like four or five times. Um, because you're not going to get as much value off of those like last energies. It might not even be four or five times as good. It's
Yeah.
that's a lot of energy. It's a lot of deck spaces come in two energy, which really no deck in the game is really doing in that amount to just fire energy. So you're like augmenting the rest of your deck, doing some wacky stuff, and you can get value out of it, but it's kind of sketchy. It's not again not like the worst card ever, but it's not super good. I heard some people saying it was like super broken when it was first revealed, and I was like, I'm pretty sure.
No,
Everyone has the cards they like and stuff, but yeah,
yeah, no, Firebirder, it's one of those silly. It allows for silly options and silly ideas, is what I'd say. So, I don't know I don't have a really strong use at the top of my head, but there's gonna be ways to use it to do some silly things. But those type of decks are inconsistent generally. I think Fire Breathers generally can be not that good, and you can give it a go with something. I don't know it's ever I don't think it's ever gonna be a hugely powerful card. It depends what else they print, but I don't think a card like that's not likely to be like a great card.
yeah. Even in Goldengo when Fire Breather first comes out, like it has some use cases. With Cerealage Goldengo together, I think it is like
Well,
it's okay, but
I guess, but then you can't play the ace spec that gets you all the energies, right? Because you
yeah, well,
can't
right now
have that
the
many
most
energies.
Goldengo lists aren't playing it anyways. They're like doing fighting stuff. I mean, it's like useful. It's kind of interesting. You're just kind of changing the dynamics of the decks. Energy Surge Pro is powerful, but it's a one turn thing. I mean, Fire Breathe is also
Yeah.
like a one turn thing because after you use it the first time, you can't play it again because you're not gonna have seven more energies in your deck. So it's like a similar idea. But it frees up your spec slot. That's like some upsides, and some downsides. But yeah.
Yeah. So you want to talk? We'll talk about the grass Pokemon for a minute, or do you just want to hit the other trainers?
Um, we can talk grass Pokemon, I guess. I don't really care about the grass Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're all kind of bad. But yeah, we can talk about them.
There's a couple Pokemon I just want to hit on quickly, and then there's some other trainers that definitely need some attention. There's the Mega Heracross EX, so that's a basic Mega 280 HP. It's okay. It might not even be okay. The main attack it's actually not okay. It does for three energy, it does 170, discards two from the top of your opponent's deck. You're not gonna win by discarding two. It's not enough mill. 170 is not enough damage, especially on a three prize basic Pokemon, but you get it in play quickly. And then I guess the idea is if you want to use the Ludicolo, the stage two, which you have to have a Mega Grass EX in play, this is the simplest way to do it. That you heal 60 from one of your Pokemon. And you can have more than one Ludicolo in play and heal more. There's the big Mega, the stage two Mega though, right
Yeah,
in the deck.
Venusaur.
So I think the Ludicolo goes with Venusaur probably, but if you're trying to do something, the Mega Heracross gives you that option, I would say, with the Ludicolo.
Yeah, I feel like Venusaur. I mean, Venusaur just isn't like super good. in general, but also I feel like Ludicolo is just adding too much clunkiness. I feel like playing it more simply and straightforward is just going to be better most of the time. Um, and this is not that. And like don't even get that much value from the healing. I don't know actually how good it is, but I've seen the deck just occasionally, and I played with it just a little bit. And obviously you have I don't know. I mean, it's like fun. You're big. You're the biggest Pokemon in the game, but also 60 more healing every turn could be good. But some decks are just going to kind of like one shot you or easily two shot you, so it might not even matter.
Yeah, and there's a couple of the Pokemon I want to hit briefly. You good with that?
Grass Pokemon or different Pokemon?
No, not of the grass.
Oh
No.
yeah, no. There's a really good Pokemon we haven't talked about yet.
Okay. Well, I'm sure it's this next one I'm talking about, and that's Paldean Tauros.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this card. This one actually at first when it was revealed, I was like, this is like super broken, but then it was mistranslated. So, yeah.
So the raging charge attack for one fighting on a basic 130 HP. It does 40 damage for each Pokemon with Tauros in their name in play. So that would also Paldean Tauros, or there is the just Tauros as well. So you can have what six? You can have six Tauroses a play. So you can be doing 240 for one energy on a basic Pokemon. That's right.
Uh,
That's
yeah.
pretty good. Now you have to have damage on them, so you're probably playing. There's the stadium's Risky Ruins, I think, and Calamitous Snowy Mountain to get damage on things. But
Uh,
if you
yeah.
right the
Oh wait, no. It's Columbus
um,
Stony Mountain is energies, right? Yeah, that's energies.
well, that's when you attach an energy, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
the one is when you get Risky Ruins is when it goes into play. But obviously, if you things are in play without damage on it, then have the other stadium to help get damage on that way. Maybe you can't move damage on yourself. I don't think really. So that would have been good. But it's a silly meme deck is what I'd say. Another meme deck in the set.
yeah. And it's okay. There's not even a regular Taurus in this set either, right? Yeah, that seems like kind of silly, but whatever. Um, but yeah, what card do you want to move on to next?
Then there's other two. There's Arcaludon. Is that I don't know if you think that's a good one or not,
I mean,
but
there's one that's like maybe the best Pokemon in this set. I mean, it's not the most interesting card, but Arcaludon's like not. It's okay.
it's just it walls basics for three energy on a single prize Arcaludon. If you're playing the Arcaludon EX deck, this is an option. Is all I'd say
Yeah,
with
I feel
that.
like it's kind of like Ceruledge, which is an option within Ceruledge EX. Arcalud is an option
Right.
within Arcaludon EX. Yeah, honestly, even the same thing with the Mega Charizard or even Mega Diancie. They're just options within decks, which they're all like decent decks. They vary from like okay to very strong. But none of them are going to be like the center point of a deck. They're all going to be kind of meh. They're different. I'd say Arcaludon and Ceruledge are the most similar because they're single prizers, but um, they're just tech options.
Yeah, it's a tech option in a deck that's out there that's an okay deck, I guess. Arcaludon's not the best deck. The other card to me to talk about, probably the one you think is very good, I'm guessing, is the Mega Lopunny EX. Is that right?
I think it's seen. Maybe it hasn't seen the most play of the Pokemon. Oh, also Mega Dancy's. I was like, why is Mega Dancy seeing so much play? It's also been out in Japan longer. I forgot about that. I
Okay.
don't know how much
Yeah.
longer, but yeah, I mean Mega Lopunny. Do you want to read out or should I read out?
Sure. So it's a stage one, 330 HP colorless Pokemon. Two attacks. The main attack is the first one, I believe. One colorless energy does 60, but if it switched from the bench to the active that turn, then it does 170 more. So you're doing 230 for one energy. That's a nice number. There's ways to. We have the one supporter that heals your megas, right? It loses the
Um,
energy. If I
yeah, lose it back
is
to your
that right?
hand though, which is better than discarding as well.
Yeah, and so it fully you heal it up, you can reattach, and it's just one energy, so that's really nice there. Kind of remind the old Urshifu VMAX with that similar attack. And then the second attack, Spike Hopper does 160 hits through effects. So if your opponent's playing, I always like it's nice to have something like that. If your opponent's playing a walling deck, you don't have to worry about it because you hit through the walls. So it just takes that as that win condition away from your opponent. So this potentially is a very good attacker. It's only one retreat cost is one as well, so you can just manually retreat if that's what we need to. You just air balloon and switching cards and stuff. So potentially very good.
Yeah, I feel like it's I mean it's just one energy, it's efficient, it's easy to get going. Honestly, like I really like Mega Camera coming out of the last set. This is definitely better than Mega Camera because it's colorless and easy to get going. A little weaker, but like it's pretty strong. I mean, it's like pretty much the same damage. So like it's efficient. There's not too much to say about it. There's also a Linoon which lets you switch. Essentially, just um it works with Mega Lopunny. It does. It's not even insane with Mega Lopunny, but it doesn't really work with anything else. But as far as I'm aware, there's nothing else I'd play it with. But yeah, Mega Lopunny is just like simple. It's not flashy. It's the same attack as Rapstrike Urshifu VMAX, essentially the
Yeah.
first one on both, which is like not the good one on Urshifu. It was definitely decent, but not the crazy one. But yeah, I mean, this card is. I don't know. I feel like this is a card you like because it's like a simple, straightforward card. I mean, I also
Yeah.
like some simple, straightforward cards. It's not. It does some like utility as well. The second attack, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to make it a deck. I think that's not a terrible idea. And there is a single prize Lopunny that does 50 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for 1 energy. So that could be worth if you're playing a Lopunny EX Mega EX deck. I think I'm slapping in the single prize as well to finish something off. But also it's colorless. It's a stage one. It's not as good as a basic, but you could splash it in some decks as well. So I think it's appealing. It's certainly an appealing card to me.
Um, yeah, it's definitely the Mega. I guess I'm the most excited for. I mean, the other ones are kind of meh. I mean, it's also kind of meh. They're not all like Dancy's like good in Gardevoir.
Yeah.
But I would say it's not super exciting. I mean, I'd say in general they're not that exciting. Mostly they highlight other mechanics or like other cards, except for Lopunny, but that's because the cards around it. Like, there's nothing that really has super strong synergy with it. But I mean, you can toss it. I think it's seen a lot playing Goldengo. It's just 1 energy. It's seen play with some
Okay.
like Dusknoir stuff, so it's like a decent, well-rounded card. But then I think we should talk about the trainers, which are like the best cards in the set, right?
Y-
I mean, the
yes.
Pokemon are like decent. The trainers are kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie, but I guess I'll talk about the two good ones now. Steal the spotlight here, but
Well, hang on. Let's say. So, is there any use for Jumbo Ice Cream? I assume that's not one of the two, right? You heal
no.
80 that has retreat cost of 3 or more. So you don't think that's
Energy
got value?
cost, or no, three energy
Energy.
attached, which
Oh,
is
three
like
energy attached. Yeah. Okay. So you
which
don't
is
see
worse
that
probably.
useful. Okay.
I mean, it's okay. It's good in like pretty much all the stall Pokemon. Well, not all of them, but like most of the stall Pokemon have an attack cost of three or more, or three pretty much. So like if I click on it, on City Leagues, you can see it paired with Omega Kangaskhan EX, Brustle, um, Giraffe
Okay.
EX, Iron Thorns EX, Milotic EX, of course, Stone Mesogirapon EX. So those are all walling Pokemon with an attack cost of three there. So it works like
Okay.
decently in there. I mean, healing 80 on an item's like good, but
Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. There's a number of walling Pokemon that fit the bill, and yeah, healing 80's nice. So if something that makes Crystal better, what more could we ask for, right?
uh-huh.
Okay. So you want, and I don't Sacred Charm. We don't need to talk about, right? 30
Yeah.
less damage.
Yeah, I mean it's
So
okay. These damage reducing tool cards are like okay, but they're not super good.
okay. Well, there's three cards that I have worthwhile. The supporter. I think both stadiums are worth some
Both
discussion. So go.
stadiums?
Yeah. Which stadium is bad to you? The Vertigo Valley.
Yeah. Wait, what are you
Oh, I
using
already
that?
mentioned that one with confusion. So that's the one. If you evolve, right, you don't recover from confusion. So, but we talked about confusion. There's a confusion theme with this set as well.
Well, yeah, but that seems
So,
like a lot worse than the other stadium. Like the other stadium's actually
well,
good, and this one's like not good. It's like okay within the deck it fits in, which is
oh
a
yeah,
bad
no,
thing.
okay. So the other stadium is good, and I think the support is really good. So which
Yeah,
do
no,
you
I
want to
think
lead off with?
let's talk the stadium, I guess, which is pretty good. Battle Coliseum here, prevent damage counters from being placed on bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, because it's a stadium, by effects of attacks and abilities from your opponent's Pokemon. Damage, of course, is not an effect, so it's not stopping like uh Greninja EX or something. But Will Smith Ogre EX. That one's like I guess more common. But yeah, stopping Dragapult EX's bench damage counters being placed, as well as Dusknoir or Monkey Dories. Dusknoir and Monkey Dory are both good cards. I mean they only do damage counters essentially. They do some other stuff, but pretty much all they're doing is damage counters manipulation. Versus Dragapult actually does a good chunk of damage. This doesn't necessarily stop Monkey Dory and Dusknoir. It just stops them to the bench. So they'll just go after the active, but that might be, that might not really be worth very much for them.
Hang on. I'm not sure it stops Monkey Dory.
No, it
Are you
does.
sure?
I
Does
yeah,
it? Is
don't
that
I
a
don't know
ruling
what
on that?
happens if you try to move it. I don't know if you heal and the damage like disappears or if you can't move them. But yeah, I
Because I
mean,
thought moving was different than placing. to
I'm
be
pretty sure
honest.
it stops Mukidori. Um, I'm
Okay.
like very confident it does, from what I've heard. But I don't know. Actually, that's a good point. I'm pretty sure it stops it. I should find an official ruling. I'm gonna look that up on my phone, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
You'll.
if I can
So
find it. But
all right, I'll talk for a minute while you look for that. So yeah, so it's there. It stops. Obviously, Dust Snore is really what it's in the game for, a hard counter Dust Snore. But other thing, a little Dragapult as well, which of course is very good. So it stops that as well. So very good thing. I've been playing some expanded with like Inteleon engine, and you get like things like that to place damage counters. So it stops that as well, and it protects from the effects of attacks, right? And there's a number of attackers that hit the bench or hits the active and places some on the bench, and so it's a very powerful stadium. If you have a deck that's relying on getting damage on the bench, you're going to have a counter to it. And this is where like heat burner, you need your own stadiums. You're going to need something to get rid of this card because it's going to cause trouble to a number of decks.
yeah, and looking it up, I'm pretty sure it does stop Monkey Dory, as in like Monkey Dory. I haven't found an official ruling on it, but I'm pretty sure
Okay.
it takes the damage counters off and then places them back on. So it'll take them off and then it'll go to place them back on and then fail, um, or succeed if you place it on the active. So yeah, I feel like it's like against Monkey Dory, it's the weakest of those three, in terms of getting to the bench, because Monkey Dory obviously it requires some setup. I mean, they all require some setup, but then it also like you got some extra damage, which oftentimes is mostly useful on the active, and then also healing is useful, which you can get no matter what. So, and then Dust Storm can be used to like really obliterate your opponent's bench. The same thing with Dragapult. Also
Yeah.
Hawlucha. Hawlucha is kind of like really mostly grouped in with Dragapult, but similar idea. It like completely stops Hawlucha. It doesn't do anything then.
It'll also now, if my opponents do playing this, my Dojos are not going to be doing damage. I will draw the card, but I will be doing like essentially
No,
nothing with my Dodrio. So that's probably why it was printed, right? To
no,
shut
it
down
doesn't stop
Dodrio.
Dojo. It's your opponents.
It's only for my opponents.
Yeah,
Oh, it's only
that'd
my
be funny
opponents.
the
Okay,
Dojo thing, but
okay, okay. So and also if I'm playing a Dragapult deck, it doesn't stop the damage counters being placed on my own Pokemon.
um,
Okay,
from
which
what?
is important. Like if I use if I'm
You
playing
mean
I
Gardevoir?
Gardevoir, I'm sorry.
Oh
If I'm
yeah,
playing Gardevoir, I still damage myself, which I need to do in this
yeah.
case. So, okay.
Yeah. So it's like it's good. It's a counter card. I'd say it's kind of like Psyduck or Shaman. I'd say it's a little better than those, I guess. I don't know. I'd say it's on a similar caliber, which are good cards. Versatile, but they're not like useful every matchup. I'd say they're a little overplayed. I haven't really played them, but it kind of depends what you're looking at. If you're in a more tournament setting where you know, or even not a tournament setting, if you like kind of know what the metagame is, like at like I say, especially like a small local event, where you like might literally know what like every person's playing, then it could be really useful. But it kind of depends there. But then the other card here, Dawn, I'll read it here. It's the
Okay.
supporter here that is like it's very good. I'm pretty sure it's like definitely the best card in the set. It's not my favorite card, but I like it some. It's a supporter. You search your deck for basic stage 1 and stage 2 Pokemon, and you put them into your hand. And yeah, that's pretty good.
No, I think it's a tremendous supporter. This I think is the best card in the set. It's going, and if you're playing an evolution deck, I'm pretty sure you're playing Dawn. I was going to say it goes in every deck, but you don't put it in basic decks, obviously.
I
And
wouldn't
this
put it
is a
in a
little
stage
different.
one deck. I feel like.
Oh yeah, but not like a big basic deck. You're not putting in that
Well,
because
no,
you
yeah, I'm
don't
saying I
need to.
wouldn't put it in a stage one.
Oh,
Or
that's true. It's for stage two decks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably not very often. Like if you're playing Goldengo, I don't think I'm playing Dawn on it probably. Um, but very good. I think it is a little different. I think it's a little bit unique too. It hasn't been a card that did exactly this, right? Searching for three Pokemon, you don't have to discard anything. It's your supporter, but super powerful. There's obviously a lot of stage two decks in format now. They keep printing some good stage twos, so I think it's just a very, very good card.
yeah, I think it's good. I'm definitely not as high on it as you. I feel like, generally most decks can get good value out of a basic. I mean, Nest Ball's good in every
Yeah.
deck. It's not played in every deck because there might be better options, but it's good, theoretically. And then getting like a stage one or a stage two, like one of those is going to be presumably your main attacker, which is useful. But there are times when you already have it. You're not looking for like a bunch of copies of it really. So I think it's but like it's useful. I think it's most useful where you have a deck where you have some utility stage one or stage two though, as in
Yeah.
like Pidgeot EX, Drake where you're like looking for these, specifically Drake where just getting more is always better. You don't like one isn't gonna be like getting one versus two. Yes, increase your draw by a bunch, but it's not like completely game warping. Getting the first one online can be huge. But anyway, like just getting more is always going to be nice. So Dawn's not really going to be ever bad for the stage one. The stage two though, you're not looking for like. I mean, I don't know. Are you how many copies would you play in something like just like Dragapult?
It's one or two, I would say.
Okay.
I don't think it's more than that. I also wonder if this might change how you build certain decks, like stage two decks. Particularly if you're playing stage two decks, then you're going to want to have some. If you're going to, if you think you want to play Dawn, then I want to have some stage ones that have some value potentially. I'm trying blanking the name, but there's and you don't really like the card, but the single prize that you draw you draw three cards,
Oh
you
yeah,
shuffle
to
it back, you're
Dunsparce,
dead.
yeah. Also
Right, like
Dusclops. I somehow blanked on Dusclops.
okay,
I'm sure it was in the back of my mind, but yeah, obviously that's like very good in Dragapult. That's another stage one, stage two, which are both good.
right. Dragapult, Dusclops, you get value of it the whole time, even once your Dragapult's set up, and such. So I think some of those things have it. It could be very good. It's a card, you know, might be think if I'm playing expanded. I'm gonna have to think through. I think I'm gonna have to put this in some decks and expand it as well. But I have to think that through. That's a broader thing to do. But this card doesn't, like I said, there hasn't been a card that does this quite. So it's bringing some new aspects to the game. I think in the Dawn card.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to resist the urge to make a Dawn pun, so I'll not do that.
Okay.
But yeah, so in expanded, I didn't. I was gonna say this, and I was like, well, no, we're just talking about standard. But it only gets stage one, stage twos, and basics, which is like everything, but not in expanded. Like it doesn't actually
No.
get megas, the expanded megas, or the XY era megas, or like V maxes or V stars. So I was thinking like, what deck plays stage twos, which actually a lot of decks do. But they're like they're all kind of weird. But a lot of those decks are V star decks, like Lugia, Regidrago.
Right.
So you can't get your main Pokemon, which is kind of bad. But yeah, it's like it's kind of interesting there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're playing an Italian engine, then it's good for that because you get that, and then you potentially can draw three more items after you play the Dawn. So
Yeah.
from it, so and you're set up for the next turn because they have a basic and a stage one that you can evolve the following turn. But I'm not sure. It's still of limited. You're still at like building a four. I don't think you're putting four Dawns in a deck. I can't think anything that's going to want that. Off the top of my head, but you think it's probably Dawn's probably the top card here, right?
Yeah, I think it's more so the other cards being kind of meh. I don't think Dawn's super good. I mean, as I said, I do think it's the top card, but I think it's kind of like a tier two supporter, which is like all right. Caliber is something like I'm like looking at Dragon Ball here. Obviously, you have like the top supporters, which I think are Iono, Lily's boss, Arvin, and I definitely put research in there as well. I'd say it could be argued that's like shouldn't be there, but I definitely think it should be. Oh, I guess Crispin's good, but I'd say Crispin's like Crispin's powerful. It's different. But then like
Yeah.
Hilda, Jack, um, some. I feel like there's one I'm missing, but there's like a rock scouting. Did I say rock scouting? Um,
Mm,
but yeah,
I
and
don't think you
anyways,
did.
like those ones, there's some different ones, and they're like okay, they're decent, they're good, but they're not like amazing or anything. So I feel like it's all right. I guess theoretically a deck that could play four of it is I don't know. It needs to be something where you're playing like a lot of Pokemon over and over, almost like the Dunsparce, like in expanded, or even maybe standard Alexam, but you're not like playing like 10 Alexams in the game. You're playing four at most. I mean, I guess you could recover some. But with Alexam, you could play an expanded with Evolution Spray Z, where it goes back into your deck, and then you draw it again, and you like play the same Alex a bunch of times, and like you find it. It's like super clunky, but like that's the only situation where it could be like truly a four of. And I feel like being a supporter that like essentially is never going to be a four of, and also isn't a card that's a consideration in every deck. Feels like again like good, but it's not like not crazy good.
That's true. It's limited because I was like calling up Jack or Jock, the decks that play it, right? That's which are the Charizards and Dragapults, right? That have Pidgeot and Dusknoir, and they get a lot of value from it. So, like Dawn's better than Jock in those decks for the most part, I would say. But it's more niche. Yeah, the cards are niche, right? Battle Coliseum is important for some decks. Heat Burner is going to be important for some decks. There's nothing that's really going in every deck, I don't think, with this set of cards.
Yeah, I'd say like you look at like Mega Lopunny is versatile as a Pokemon. You have some of the
Yeah.
trainers which are like mediocre but versatile. I mean that would be like the tool or something. But yeah, I mean the set's all right though. Overall, I'd say it's a fine set. It's not spectacular because I mean it's smaller, right? But
Yeah.
we got the 700 card set right around the corner though. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think for a small set, it's okay, right? It's not shaking up the meta. That's okay. Now, maybe the last set didn't really shake up the meta that much either, so maybe things are going to get a little stale. Might be concerned about that, but I think for a small set, it's a fine set.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more from the Mega era with the next set, I believe, which I think is a mini set at the beginning of next year or something like that before rotation with like Mega
Yeah.
Dragonite and stuff. We're getting the actual new Megas from ZA, which will be cool, I guess. It's not actually that different for the ECG, but it is the first time these Pokemon are getting featured in their that form, which is kind of fun. Overall, I think that set's gonna have some cool stuff in it. We're gonna see some cool stuff on the horizon at the beginning of the next year, like not the mini set, but the main set. Imagine we'll see something exciting mechanically. Normally at the beginning of the year we see something exciting. Um, we saw the megas, but I think we'll see something on a maybe a slightly lower caliber, but on a similar caliber there.
Well, yeah, next year, as we get a couple more sets, and then we have rotation happening, I think it's after rotation that the megas are going to start to become more meaningful in the game. I got to imagine.
Yeah, like when we look at the top decks in the metagame right now, um, we can see that like Gardevoir, Charizard, Gholdengo, these are all rotating. Raging Bolt. Wait, no, Raging Bolt's not rotating. Wait, is Raging Bolt rotating? Uh, I
I
should
don't think so, but
no.
I'm
Oh,
not positive.
Sada's is rotating. I think Sada's is rotating. Yeah,
Okay.
Sada's rotating. Rotating. There we are. I knew something good from the deck was rotating. That's like important. So yeah, like a lot of the top
Yeah.
decks are losing important or like are leaving honestly, or losing very important pieces. Dragapult's still alright. And then you see like the best deck that came out this year, I guess, is Marni's. I mean, I'm like not a fan of Marni's. I just think it's kind of. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I think it's all right, but um, for the most part, I think Pokemon's done a decent job of balancing things. I think they've kind of tuned down the power level a little. But I'm excited to see what they're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, I think they're kind of making things a little more vanilla in the short term, but then hopefully it's a strategic move so the game's a little more balanced long term. I think they're trying to flush out some of these really too strong cards, and it's better that to just kind of keep things vanilla rather than trying to print something even more powerful to push them out, right? Which they had gotten in that cycle for a while. I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah. But anyways, we hope you enjoyed the episode today. And tell us down below in the comment section on our YouTube channels, 10 Types and Uncommon Fossil, if there's anything specifically you want to see. But you can also check us out if you are watching us on YouTube, or if you're not, make sure you subscribe there and like. But also, you can check us out on podcasting platforms if you want to listen to us without seeing us. They're not us, but like the
The
limitless or
cards and
something.
such.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Or because, it's more convenient. But we hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, as I said, all the good stuff. And as always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.